Hi, I just filmed a fairly intense video that will likely go up today, um, but it was a little intense, a little serious, uh, and I just kind of wanted to film something that was a bit more fun, a bit more, I don't know. Um, yeah, my last video was about the fear of God, so I decided I'm gonna tell a story about a person in my childhood who was very important to me. Um, I am gonna talk about my first love, and I don't know whether to use real people or people's real names or not, because I don't know how the internet works. I don't know. Um, I certainly don't ever want to put anyone in danger. Um, so I never know, like, should I use people's names? Is that a bad idea? Is that gonna get me in trouble? Is that gonna get someone else in trouble? I don't know. Um, I don't know. The reason I'm gonna talk about my first love today is because it is very tied with my trans experience. Because I don't know. It's a little. It was a bit of an interesting circumstance, I think. Um, it was another boy, and I met this boy when we were both about 5 years old. Um, we used to play soccer together. I played soccer from basically when I was like 5 until I graduated high school. Loved soccer. I miss soccer so much. I wish there was more opportunity for adults to just go around and kick a ball around. Even though right now I'm not physically healthy enough to really do that for very long, unfortunately, but I'd like to be someday, man. I loved soccer. Soccer was so fun. Um, but the first time I remember meeting this boy, we were both around 5 years old, and we were. It wasn't real soccer because we were, babies. uh, our soccer kind of league, I guess, was run by our church, and it was a bunch of other churches, and we played every Saturday, and uh, we were playing at the time. We were playing in the little like uh, it wasn't a real game. It was more, let's just throw the ball at these 5-year-olds and see what they do with it. How many of them pick dandelions and how many of them just run in a huge herd to just chase this ball with reckless abandon and no direction or rules or knowledge of what to do with it. Good times. And we were 5, but um, I just remember being like so like, yes, this is who I want to be. I was huddled. It was a co-ed league, but like I was hanging around him and a couple other boys on the field, kind of playing, kind of picking flowers, kind of paying attention, kind of just also being children. Um, I just remember feeling like these are my people. Like this is where I belong. Um, because our church was just very, very hung up on, boy roles, girl roles, who could hang out with who could do what. It's honestly shocking that we even had a co-ed league now that I think about it. Like, it's shocking that they allowed us to play together. Although, they did allow us to play together, but there was always this kind of social thing that I did not pick up on, because I was not, not really savvy to this. Where it's like, yeah, it was co-ed, but also the boys were kind of supposed to be gentler on the girls. I did not listen to that. I may have full body slammed a bunch of other boys that were my age and older. um, my nickname when I got a little older was Freight Train. Because I would just absolutely slam into people trying to get the ball. And I can partially blame my vision for that, because even with my glasses, I couldn't see, even with my glasses, I couldn't even see like the number on the midfielder. I played defense mostly. I couldn't even see like the number on the midfielder's back in front of me. Vision's not good, but I was decent at the game for not being able to see very well. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I did absolutely just fully body slam people for no reason. Never got carded though. That's nice. Not everyone can say that from that time. Anyway, I'm on a tangent. This boy, I attached to really hard, and I remember I was at like a sleepover with some other girls, and it was like, who do you have a crush on? And I didn't really understand what crush meant at the time, but I was like, I know that there's this boy that I'm kind of obsessed with for reasons that escape my understanding. Turns out it was both a crush and gender envy. Spoilers for the video. And so I said this boy's name. I was like, oh, this guy. And I was so obsessed with that poor little fuck. I would follow him around everywhere. I followed him everywhere. It's just, and he didn't like that, shockingly. We were like 6 or 7, and I'm just chasing him around the church, just like fucking lost puppy on his heels. And then, the adults thought it was cute for a while, but then we hit puberty, and then it wasn't so cute. Then it was concerning. Puberty was a weird time. I remember I kind of hit puberty a little early. I don't remember exactly when, but I think I was 4th or 5th grade when I started my period. And my chest grew real fast. And I didn't mind the hair growth that much. I didn't mind some of the things about puberty, but I hated having boobs. I hated it. Hated them ever since they started growing. And I remember when they started growing was when I started looking at myself in the mirror differently. It's when I started looking in the mirror and being like, I am disgusting. I am disgusting. Just looking in the mirror like no one will ever love me because I have boobs. Felt like a monster. Felt like an absolute monster. And I remember when he hit puberty, it was like, it takes different amounts of time for boys for their voice to drop. Some kind of, it lasts a long time where they're in that kind of high-pitched cracking, creaking phase. For him, the voice drop was like really quick. I remember. And I remember when I realized his voice dropped, and I couldn't label it this at the time because I didn't understand, but I felt jealousy. I was like, I wanted that. And I couldn't put words to that because I didn't have the understanding of why I would feel jealous at a boy's voice dropping. Like, that makes no sense if you're a cis woman. And one of the frustrating things about growing up is that a lot of my trans feelings got lumped together with attraction, because I am attracted to boys as well as girls. Attraction to girls it was more complicated in some ways because it was like, well, that's off limits because, I grew up AFAB, and assigned female at birth, for those who don't know that term. And liking girls that's obviously gay. Um, but my attraction towards girls has always been somewhat simpler to understand. It's like, yeah, it's a girl. She's pretty. I like her. I want to hold her hand and I want to give her a smooch. Um, but my attraction to boys has always been more confusing, and I realized as I got older it's because it is layered with gender envy. And when you have attraction mixed with gender envy, it creates this very weird concoction in your soul that is really a lot. It's a lot. And I never had that gender envy with girls. Like, I always wanted to be pretty. Like, I wanted to look good. I wanted to look nice. I wanted to be attractive. But I never, like, looked at a girl and was like, I want to look like that. Like, I want to be that. That was not a feeling I got. With boys, that was a feeling I got. And I, again, couldn't label it at the time. Didn't understand why I was so hyper-focused. But, you know, as I got older, I realized it was envy. It was this desire to be them, and also to smooch them as well. um, but this boy, he was a troublemaker. We both played soccer, and then I also started doing dance at one point because he did dance. But he got to do modern dance. The boys got to do modern dance. The girls had to do ballet. And I was like, I wanted to do modern, but it wasn't very ladylike. God, this is a little bit of a tangent, but the phrase that I heard most as a child that drove me absolutely crazy was "sit like a lady." Oh my god. I hated that. I hated being told that. Sit like a lady, put your legs together. It's like, why do the boys get to man spread? That's not fair. I want a man spread too, because that's a normal thing to want. Being trans is funny. it's, it's so funny sometimes. Uh, but yeah, this kid, I followed him around so much. I was such a creep. I didn't really understand the social rules of why that was annoying, and a lot of the adults in the church didn't like it because, like, yes, I did have a crush on him, but they kind of saw it as only that, and I didn't understand why my feelings were so intense. Because I had crushes on other boys, but it was always a little more kind of your typical, like, teenage crush where it's like, you know, it'd last for a few weeks and then, you know, and then, I don't know, they'd do something really stupid and you're like, oh, never mind. But this one boy, he was like, he was everything. He was my lifeline for a long time. I was bullied a lot as a kid, a lot. I was bullied for being gay before I even knew I was gay. There was a rumor passed in middle school that I was a lesbian. And they weren't far off, but I didn't understand at the time. Kids, it's weird what kids know and what kids pick up on before you do. You know, and this boy, I wanted to be everywhere that he was. I wanted to do everything that he did. He also did jujitsu, and I wanted to do jujitsu so bad, just because it's like I wanted to be like him. Like you know, his favorite pop was Dr. Pepper, and so Dr. Pepper became my favorite pop. He had this black and gray hoodie that he would wear all the time, and I bought one that looked just like it. And I didn't realize that it was because I wanted to be him as much as I wanted to be with him, because, you know, I'm not going to pretend like that wasn't part of the equation. Man, he was one of those boys that really liked the attention of girls. Probably liked the attention of girls more than he actually liked to be around other people. Very, always flirting, always, making jokes, very class clown type of person. I remember some of my favorite times where our youth group would do improv in the basement after the group part was done, and man, I loved those nights. I loved improv. I've always loved comedy and improv, and performance. Like, always been attracted to that kind of stuff, and unfortunately attracted to performers as well, which my tastes are terrible. And like, I always wanted to be an improv again, another very gendered activity for us. It's not that girls never jumped in on the improv games. We did one very frequently that was like, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like you'd have a scene with some people in it, and then anybody in the who was watching could just yell freeze and then tap you out, and like, you know, tap another person out, and then the scene would resume and continue, and it would, you know, either change or not change depending on what the person wanted. But that was the improv game that we played the most, and I wish I'd jumped in more, but I felt like I couldn't, because again, sometimes girls would jump in, but it was really more of a boy thing, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to. Improv has always seemed so fun, and this guy, he was so funny. I mean, he was so funny. I wanted to be funny. Like, the hottest thing anyone can be is funny, and I've always wanted to be funny. I don't know how well my sense of humor has developed. We'll have to see as this channel goes. That's one of the reasons I want to do Let's Plays, is because that really is a type of improv. It's you know, it's a type of you know, there's no script. It's just kind of saying what goes to your head, and kind of I don't know. I'm explaining it more than I should. It's improv. Let's Plays are improv, and I would like to do that more. But yeah, everything this boy did, I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to do it, and I didn't realize, but I just really wanted to be him. He was kind of the version of masculinity that I sought after, again, without realizing. But it's like, you know, I would dress like him. I would do everything he wanted to do. We hung out all the time. And also, looking back, the way that we flirted, because we did flirt, it was kind of there was probably a period of time where we both had crushes on each other, but I had the crush the longest, and there's definitely a period of time where he was sick with my shit. He was done with me. He did not want me around. And I didn't pick up on this. I'm just like, I'm gonna go hang out with him again, because it would be soccer on Saturday mornings, church on Sunday mornings, and then like some weekends, I think it was Saturday nights, it would be youth group. And then sometimes we'd have other things, like we'd go hiking as a church, and he'd be there. We really only hung out at church events because our parents did not want us hanging out, because they were not happy with the flirting, which is like, this is what I don't get, is it's like everybody my crush on him was very not approved of very widely in the church, and everybody knew. I was not subtle. I am not a subtle motherfucker at all. When I like someone, it's pretty fucking obvious, unfortunately. Wish I could hide that better. Really wish I had more control over that, but I don't. I'm just kind of an open book a lot of the time. But yeah, people did not like the fact that I liked him, and so they did their best to keep us separate as much as possible. Didn't work. But looking back, the way that we flirted really was like two boys flirting. Like, it was, you know, not to say that I didn't like wear makeup and, you know, wear nice clothes, feminine clothes, because that's what was expected of me. That's what I had to do. But when I look back at like how we flirted, our conversations, it was very like me trying to be in on all the boy jokes, me trying to talk like him. Oh yeah, I tried to talk like him all the time. I would like pick up phrases that he said, and like both on purpose and on accident. where I was just always trying to talk like him, always trying to make the same types of jokes he did because I thought he was the funniest fucker on the planet. Probably not as funny as he felt like to me, but I don't know. And you know, it really, you know, looking back, it really did feel like we were both boys. And I don't think he felt that way, obviously. Um, but it's, you know, I don't know how to flirt like a girl. I've never really, you know, I don't know how flirting as a girl works. I think I'm running the risk of misogyny possibly, but you know, I think you're supposed to laugh a lot and have boobs. That's all I've picked up. But I don't know, works on me. But um yeah, he like after church, I would always he had to set up the basement for dance class, the church basement for dance class every week, and so we'd always have like an hour or two after church where we would just talk and just talk about anything. Um, and you know he knew a lot of me at the time. It's funny, I actually remember this one conversation where I was complaining to him that people were calling me gay at school, and I was really upset about it at the time. Because at the time it was really an insult. I don't know if younger people remember, but like being called a lesbian or being called gay used to hurt. It really used to hurt. It really used to actually be an insult. And you know, I'm not saying it's not anywhere now, like, but I think um, it is a little different now. But I was complaining to him that I was being called gay at school, and both of us being sheltered Christian children who didn't understand anything, he was just like, "Well, you are gay though, aren't you? Because you like guys." And it's like, oh, he was accidentally correct, but obviously didn't quite understand how that worked. Um, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, why do you still think about this guy? This is like, you're an adult. I'm 28 now, and I stopped seeing him when I was 15 or 16. Like, why do I still think about him? And the thing is like, something about my attraction to him at the time was something I never have experienced since, or at least never experienced since with someone I know. Um, it like he was all I could think about. I would go to school and everybody thought I was so annoying because it was always just I just would talk about him constantly, constantly. It was so annoying. It's all like it's like okay, I would condense that entire weekend that we would have, and then it you know just story after story after story. um, and I'm grateful that I had friends that put up with it. But and it was always just waiting for the next weekend. Like as soon as the weekend was over, just you know lay in my room thinking about it, and then just like I can't wait till next week, and just waiting like living weekend to weekend. And it was kind of the thing that kept me alive because I was bullied very very badly. I was sexually harassed a lot at school because when you grow boobs early, boys take notice, and they do not like to leave those things alone for some reason. Can't imagine why. Um, you know, I had a lot of dealt with a lot of groping, a lot of grabbing. At this one time where some guy shoved a binder between my legs in the hallway. I had this one guy who would chase me around gym class and just like thrust into my back while we were running. Um, Never got in trouble for it, you know. Never, never, you know, it's just boys being boys. But then I said, I'm like, I'm gonna kill him, and I got in trouble for that, so, because it's a death threat. Um, you know, a lot of school was rough. School's really rough. I had this one time where these two girls uh, followed me around and just made my life absolute hell for a while. They would dump trash on my head from the garbage can. Had like food running down my hair that day. I was on crutches one time, and when I was at my locker, they took my crutches and hid them. So I was late for class because I was crawling around the floor trying to find where the fuck they put my crutches. School was rough, and that's the thing is like when you grow up queer, people notice something is wrong with you. Obviously, nothing's wrong with you if you're queer, but kids notice. Kids know something's up. It's not. We're not as covert as we think we are. We're really not. Even when we don't know what's going on. And school was really rough, and my time with that one boy was the time I got to be a boy. I was always kind of mirroring him, always trying to act like him, trying to, have his sense of humor, trying to. What is happening outside? There's something loud. I was. He kept me alive, I think, in those days, because just having the time with him to look forward to, and to kind of try to be the boy that I wanted to be, to try have somebody to mirror, and have someone to imitate, and have someone to teach me how to be a boy. Even if, again, I didn't quite realize that that's what I was doing. I thought I just wanted to be like him because I liked him. I didn't have any other words for it, but that's not super typical of cis girls liking boys, I don't think. I mean, there can be some imitation there, but he glowed. He was like, it's hard to explain, but it felt, he was different. He was different than anyone else that I knew. He was different than the other boys I had crushes on. And he was everything to me in those times. When I was really depressed, I picked up cutting around that time. When I was like 13 was the first time I was I started going to therapy because I was like, I told my parents I wanted to die, and went to my first PHP, partial hospitalization program. And that boy kept me alive in a lot of ways, in ways that I didn't even understand and couldn't put into words at the time. And there's a part of me that's like, why do I still care so much about this kid? Because I feel like if we saw each other again, it would be very weird, because he is absolutely let go of it by now. I mean, like, this is not a big deal for him, but I still dream about him. Like, I still have dreams about him constantly. Still think about him a lot. Even though it's like, obviously, like, it's not, I don't have a crush anymore. I doubt I would like who he is now. My tastes in men have changed since then. My taste in people have changed since then. So I doubt I would even like him if we met again. But it was just, he was so important to me. And people just couldn't understand. One of the things that pissed me off is people always, they said you can't possibly love him because you're too young to understand what love is. But being a queer kid with no other outlet, with no other way to understand myself, with this being my only tie to masculinity that I had, yeah, I loved him. He was my lifeline for a long time. For 10 years, he was my lifeline. And that's the thing, is like, it started before puberty. Like, my obsession with him started before puberty, before I was even thinking about crushes. And it's he got to be everything I couldn't be. He got to be reckless, and he got to climb trees. He got to play with knives. He got to he got to be shirtless on the soccer field. He got to do those things that I couldn't do. And I guess I was kind of trying to vicariously live through him in a way. You know, he felt like my other half, and not in a like bug, please. Not in a not in a marriage way, but in a, you know, he had the body that I wanted, that I couldn't have because I was born a girl. Um, and it's weird because my attraction to men confuses me because it should, by all accounts, attraction to men shouldn't feel as, uh, what's the word? I don't like the words that are coming to my mind. Attraction to men, in a lot of ways, feels more wrong than my attraction to women, which is weird because it's like, okay, well, if you grew up AFAB, you know, liking boys was the normal thing, that should feel normal, and liking girls should feel more wrong. Again, it's not wrong. I'm talking about in a heteronormative culture that does not understand queerness. But my attraction to men has honestly always felt more wrong. And I think part of it is because I know I'm attracted to men as a man. I'm not attracted to men in the way that a girl is attracted to men. I'm attracted to men in the way a man is attracted to men. My high school boyfriend, we didn't date for very long. I think we were only together for like 3 months. We went out for like a week, and then I dumped him, and then we went out for 3 months, and then something horrible happened that I'm not going to talk about this video. But I remember, like, with him, our relationship felt weird because when we weren't dating and I was more of like just another friend, that felt okay. Like that, like having a crush on him felt normal. I remember as soon as we started dating and he started treating me like a girl, that felt wrong. I was always like baffled because I'm like, I do have a crush on him. I like him. But as soon as we were dating, I was like, I hate this. I hate being in this role. Didn't like kissing him. Didn't like being his girlfriend. And it was like, and I didn't understand at the time why there was that difference, because when we broke up again, I went back to liking him. And I'm pretty sure the reason is because I've always liked men the way that men like men. Gay men like men. And whenever I've liked a guy, they've treated me like a girl, because that's what they think of me as. And that feels uncomfortable. That feels icky and gross, and just, I don't like it. Whereas the girls that I've liked and the girls I've been with, there's been kind of this inherent understanding that this is queer. Again, even though I didn't realize I was trans for a while, even though I'm trans now, there was still this understanding of my queerness. And I think that's been the thing, is where when I like men, I know it's gay, I know it's queer, but sometimes the men don't realize, or they still view it as a straight crush, and that's uncomfortable. That doesn't feel good. It's dysphoric. So it's very weird to say that like liking girls has felt more natural and more normal than liking men. It's bizarre. Being queer is bizarre. You know, and sometimes I wonder, I'm like, you know, which gender am I going to end up with? Because it's really up in the air when you're bi. It's like, it could be anyone. It could be a non-binary person. I don't know. I'm not, you know, not really picking based on gender. But I do wonder, you know, what's going to happen once I enter the dating pool again. Because, you know, whoever I date, I need them to see me as a man. And I think it is harder, especially being pre-transition, It's harder to find men who see you as a man. And it's a little easier with girls, a little easier with non-binary people. I understand why people are T for T, because it's like understanding, there's so much about a queer relationship that's like, how do you view me? Like, as a trans person, it is so important how my partner views me. Does my partner see me as a man? Do they see me as a woman? Because I will be able to tell. I will be able to tell. And that can really affect how the relationship goes, because I will feel very uncomfortable if I'm seen as a woman. So yeah, dating's scary. For a lot of reasons. But yeah, just that one boy. I still think about him because it was just he was just a lifeline during the worst parts of my childhood and teen years. And I remember when I told him I was leaving the church, because part of the reason that my parents even left the church was because of him, because they were so upset about how much time I was spending with him, and they were like, thank God you're going to be away from him, because I was just too clingy and too whatever, even though he was also my shadow too. Like, it's not like he was annoyed by me, but it's not like he didn't also feed into it by following me around and also spending a lot of time with me. This was not a totally one-sided thing. This is not just my fault. I actually had a friend who was much older than both of us, and he made it his mission to get this fucking boy, like, away from me. Like, he would just literally pick him up and carry him off when he thought that he was being annoying to me. Because he didn't treat me the best. He actually, the boy I liked, he actually years later sent me a Facebook message and was like, hey, I'm sorry for how I treated you. And I was kind of like, what? Like, because I'm like, I don't know, those were some of the best years of my life at this point, man. Yeah, I hope he's doing good. Hope he's found someone. Probably has. I hope someday to find someone in my life that I feel as strongly about as him, because I did have a very serious relationship that ended in 2022. It lasted for about 5 years. And I loved my partners very much. Loved them very deeply. It was one of the most fulfilling relationships, possibly the most fulfilling relationship I've experienced. And I'm still sorry it ended. I understand why it did, and I think it was probably for the best that it did, but, they were my life in a lot of ways, but even my love for them, which was very deep and very real and very, we were family. We were family in the deepest way. Even that didn't really compare to what I felt for this kid for the first, 10 years of my life, or, from ages 5 to 15. And I do hope I find someone like that again who means that much to me. I don't know if I ever will. I struggle a lot with feeling very undesirable, very broken, damaged. I struggle with feeling like I am too damaged to ever find someone. I've kind of ruined my body over the years with how I've treated it. Through the worst of the dysphoria and the depression, I have made a lot of choices that have impacted my body, and I worry a lot that I'll ever find someone who's willing to look past the, disgusting, foul, body that I have, and is willing to put in the time to find out who I am and willing to invest in that. you know, I worry a lot about that. I worry if I'll find that, and I'm 28, and I know 28 is not that old. I know I have time. And there are plenty of people who don't find someone until they're in their 30s, but I also hate how important to me it is. Like, I really do. I wish I didn't care as much. Like, I wish that I didn't put so much priority on having a relationship, but I think if I end my life by myself, like if I reach the end of my life and I never found someone, I think I would be really upset. I do think that would crush me. And I gotta remember I have time left. There's a lot of people out there. You know, I have to remember that there's time left, because it would be really depressing if the most intense and most fulfilling relationship I had was when I was 15. That would suck. But yeah, it was really, I think about him a lot because it was so tied to identity. It was more than just having a crush. It was more than just wanting to be around him. It was wanting to be him. It was wanting to watch him get to be who I couldn't be. It was getting to having the privilege to witness his life and to like just think about, like, you know, what if that was me? What if I could be like him? Very difficult to explain and difficult to understand. But yeah, he was a wacky kid. We both were absolute menaces to our church. I don't know. I do wonder how many adults thought that we were doing something really untoward in the basement. We weren't. We were just talking. I mean, well, okay. I mean, there was this one time where he mysteriously had handcuffs, and I don't know where he got them from. We did spend the day handcuffed together for reasons I don't know. But we didn't, I mean, we never even kissed. We didn't do anything. Well, did we hold hands? Not really. It was a very antagonistic relationship. It was very like, ew, I don't like it. That stupid bullshit. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it because it's like, it was an interesting experience, and it's very tied to my trans identity, and you know, I hope he's doing okay. I hope he's doing well. It'd be really funny if he was also gay, but I do not think he is. I think he's probably straight. But if he ever liked me at all, technically that makes him a little gay. So, yeah. I don't know. I hope I find someone someday. I hope I can find someone to put up with my bullshit. Put up with my sharp tongue and absolute wreck of a body, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'll let you know if that changes. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's it. That's a video. That's a fun video. Have that.